This should look pretty familiar. Yes, our next review is a service rifle staple. An Australian legend, the No.1 MkIII short magazine Lee Enfield. Yes, ladies and gents, this is it, so to speak. This is actually one of the first rifles I ever bought. I went on with my father. I was still under a junior's permit at the time, up to Hall's Firearms in Townsville, specifically to buy a 303. And this is that gun. As a result, it has a bit of a special place in my heart. Is it the most collectible one out there? No, not really. Is it in the best condition? No, not really. But this one, it's mine. Every blue-blooded Australian should have one of these. And if you don't, do something about it. All right, so No.1 MkIII star conversion. How can you tell? Well, first of all, magazine cutoff, provision is still there for it. However, the cutoff is missing. Usually commensurate with that is removal of the stock disc as well. This particular one is a British-made example. This one's an actual Enfield, 1917 manufacture. But just because she's an old duck doesn't mean it still can't shoot. The bore on it is fantastic, and this gun has the honour of being the 2018 world's fastest battle rifle. Well, at the Queensland Military Rifle Club anyway. Yes, this is the gun I used in those blistering runs. Also backed it up the year prior in 2017, where I managed to get third, where I was battling a few issues with some stripper clips there. So, features of the No.1 MkIII. Obviously, all the distinctive parts are there. This one has no provision for the volley sights. Charger bridge obviously added as part of the design update from the MLE, from the long lead to the MLE, SMLE. Charger bridge was permanently installed. Safety catch over on the left hand side, rolls over, not a problem there. Action, all very standard Lee Enfield, hasn't changed since day dot. Magazine itself, again, different to the long Lee, has the flat spring installed, and as opposed to the No.4 magazine, has this secondary little tab here as well, just to help with its location. The trigger on the Lee Enfield is a departure from what was on the earlier long Lees, mainly being it was a two-stage design. So you have a first set and then a heavy brake. What does that look like in person? Well, a little bit of take up, first stage, moves about 3 or 4 mil. Then you've got a creepy brake to a wall, and however many poundage it was from the factory. I have no idea what that was, and guess what? It doesn't really matter. It's a military trigger. You're not going to get perfection. All right, moving up. The early MLEs and some of the early No.1 MkIIIs actually had windage adjustable rear sights, and many a battalion rifle team would dig those out of stock and fit them, obviously for target use only, although probably carried them in battle as well. Thus the rear sight protector was actually, I should be using my patented pokey, designed to fit around the adjustment knob. Sights on the SMLE graduated up to 20, meaning 2,000 yards. I can't say I've ever seen one employed to that distance on the standard sights. All the standard arrangement is there. Now, traditionally, there would actually be a little bit more timber that would cover this slot up. However, that's long since broken off on my example, and has just been cut off flush to make it look neat, which was a field expediency as well. Underneath the handguard, where everyone likes to look for their proof marks, etc. This one is not a heavy barrel. This is just a standard service barrel. This one was actually refitted in 1935. So it's actually been doing pretty well not to be shot out by now. Moving forward, the barrel band, and just behind the barrel band is the screw, which actually has the ring that holds the barrel down into the stock at the midpoint, giving you the second point of contact from the Knox form. Number 2, the barrel ring. And then we move up to the nose cap, arguably the most distinctive feature of the SMLE. Not only does it provide provision for the fitting of the world's most fearsome bayonet, the 1907 sword pattern. Now that is just awesome. Deliberately designed long, as it was a short rifle, to give the infantryman on the ground enough length to take an officer off a horse. So, as the barrel was entirely protected, an extra lug had to be added. Underneath, if you were to remove it, you'll find that underneath this nose cap is a little spring and a cup. Now that is arguably the most crucial element of the SMLE bedding system. If that spring loses its tension or takes a set, all of a sudden your barrel will be making too much or too little contact under the stock, and as a result, your group will go to crap. Probably, arguably one of the first things to be replaced when you're trying to tune these up for best accuracy. The spring here, and obviously making sure the correct tension on your bedding screw at the back. Front sight guard, obviously the British love their sights to be protected after the Longley, which was left open. Most examples by this era were nice and open on the sides to allow a adjustment tool to be slid in and wound up to adjust windage on the range for zeroing. However, early examples you had to actually remove the nose cap entirely, like this one, slide your tool on and adjust. This is a reproduction item. To be honest, generally they're pretty good from the factory. You usually find them cranked way over to the right. If you center it, it's pretty much going to be on. SMLE has a particular place in all Australians' heart, as Australia never adopted the number 4. Obviously the number 4, its design itself, came on the scene pretty late in the war. By that stage, Lithgow was already tooling up, churning out as many of these as they could. The cost of stopping production in order to retool, right at the point where Australia is under threat, probably wasn't the greatest idea. So they stuck with the number 1 and kept churning them out. And as a result, was our service rifle right up to the adoption of the SLR. The affection the Australian soldiers had for the No.1 MkIII, well, it's what they were given and it's what they bet their lives on. As a result, it attained the legendary status that it holds today. This particular example of mine, yep, it's got a few dings on it. Could be battle damage, could be storage damage. Who knows what sort of life it's had, whether it even saw Australian service. It doesn't matter, because the true value of each rifle is the one we place upon it as shooters. If you like this sort of content, please like and subscribe, and we hope to catch you again out on the range sometime soon.